A weather warning for more snow is in place for parts of England this morning as a cold snap sweeps across the UK.
Good morning. The Met Office has an amber weather warning in force for the North York Moors and parts of the Yorkshire Wolds. By the end of today, we could well have 25 centimetres of settling snow.
The UK Health Security Agency has also issued cold health alerts for England until Saturday, saying there could be significant impacts on the elderly and people with health conditions. And if you need a sign that Christmas is fast approaching, this gorgeous picture features in The Guardian of reindeer spotted in the snowy Cairngorms in the eastern Highlands of Scotland.
Also tonight, power cuts, closed schools and weather warnings as a cold snap sweeps across large parts of the UK. Now, temperatures in most parts of the UK last night fell to their coldest of the season so far. Widespread snow in some areas saw hundreds of schools forced to close in Yorkshire, the north of Scotland and in several areas in Wales. Yellow warnings of snow and ice remain in place until later tonight, with temperatures plummeting as low as -13 in the Highlands. Danny Savage has spent the day in and around the North Yorkshire moors.
On the high ground above Kirby Moorside, even gritters can have their off days. This one stranded in a ditch on a minor road. At one point today, North Yorkshire Police advised against all but essential journeys. It wasn't hard to see why. These two lorries have been stranded for many hours.
You've got icicles on the front of your wagon. You've been parked up overnight. How bad have the conditions been?
Oh, it's been horrendous. But 5:30 last night when it started coming down, obviously we had to get towed up here by the tractors just to get off the main road. And this is us now going to try and attempt to get out.
The exposed road along Blakey Ridge is about 1,300 feet above sea level. At the top is a pub. Was it optimistic for the Lion Inn to open in these conditions? Not really.
November though, crazy. It doesn't normally happen before Christmas, ever. People live through their kids and you get excited about it. And even though they're warned not to, they come anyway.
On the surrounding moors, the adventurous had been out for the morning before finding a fireside.
Because we don't get many opportunities, because the winter seems to be getting weaker, I guess. When you do get that chance, it's like, let's go.
A few miles further east in Goathland, the snow really came down. Several power cuts locally compounded the problems. In Wales, hundreds of homes were also left without power, with conditions particularly poor in Pembrokeshire. And in northern Scotland, about 100 schools were closed today. Conditions are expected to ease over the next 24 hours. Snow in November certainly isn't unheard of, but this is a fairly early dose of wintry weather, and it's left its mark. Danny Savage, BBC News, on the North York Moors.
Winter is on the way and snow and ice have caused disruption to many parts of the UK, with roads blocked, schools closed and public transport hit by delays and cancellations. An amber warning, the second highest, is in place until 9 p.m. tonight for snow in North Yorkshire. The Met Office is warning of significant snowfall and the possibility of communities being cut off. There are also lesser yellow warnings for snow and ice across most of Scotland, the east of England, southwest England and Wales. Our correspondent Ben Chapman reports from Yorkshire on the impact of the cold snap.
By first light on the North York moors, it was already clear why police had warned people not to attempt these exposed routes. The driver of this car had been out surveying the state of the roads for a bus company. His conclusion? They weren't safe.
I was only going about 20. I think just about over there, there was a patch of black ice and just came straight down into the ditch.
And you've been here since when?
Just after 5 o'clock, and it's now, what, 5 to 9?
Amid an amber weather warning, those on the main road into Scarborough didn't fare much better. But it was northern Scotland that again experienced the heaviest snowfall overnight. They're just more used to dealing with it. Although it did close more than 100 schools, with another 50 shut in Wales as temperatures dropped to as low as -6. Even in Cornwall, where it hardly ever snows, drivers were being urged to take extra care.
People get into their cars and see that it's maybe 1 or 2 degrees and think it's fine.
quite often the road surface temperature is a good 2 or 3 degrees lower, so you may still come across icy conditions.
But for some, the slippier the better. A snow day this early in the school year has those lucky enough to get one wanting more.
We love snow, and I didn't know it was going to snow today, so I'm very excited. I hope it doesn't melt. That's what I want, it not to melt.
Why not?
Because then you can still play with it. And we don't want to have to go to school tomorrow either.
But the forecast suggests she may be disappointed.
That's because the weather warnings for snow around the country all expire tonight. The concern now is for ice. There are warnings in place for much of the east coast, the far north of Scotland and Cornwall, but it may be a relief to many, perhaps not those children, that it is expected to turn milder again by the weekend.
Temperatures in most parts of the UK last night fell to their coldest of the season so far. Widespread snow in some areas saw hundreds of schools forced to close in Yorkshire, the north of Scotland and several areas in Wales. Yellow warnings of snow and ice remain in place until later tonight, with temperatures plummeting as low as -13 in the Highlands. With me is BBC Weather's Louise Leah. Louise, I'm going to ask you, why is it cold? It's not quite winter yet.
The easiest answer is change of wind direction. And at this time of year, we tend to get the battle between sort of autumn into winter, so we can have extremes. So far this November across the UK has been incredibly mild. It's been often wet, but it's been very, very mild with temperatures way above the average because the wind direction's been coming from the southwest. So the warmth has been coming up all the way from the Azores. And then suddenly, just like somebody flipping a coin, we had a change of wind direction, a cold northerly and an Arctic airflow, and that really did bring a lot of bitterly cold air right across the country.
Yes, quite a shock to the garden. How unusual is it to have this amount of snow in November?
It can happen. Believe it or not, we had it about this time last year, so it's not unusual. What's going to be interesting, I suppose, is that, it is a little bit of a toss of the coin. The wind direction changes again, and then the milder weather can come back. So just when everybody's kind of got used to wearing woolly pulleys and a couple of extra layers and the heating's been turned up a notch or two, at the weekend it's going to get milder, and then we'll see a return to sort of a milder, westerly, wetter story.
Right, I can guarantee that when you get on the train, though, the heating will still be running on full, so everyone will be sweltering. So it's not going to, this snap anyway, in its own right, it's not going to last that long. No. Things are going to change back to the mild next week. How far can you see beyond that?
Well, we can see a trend up to 10 days. And certainly in the next 10 days, things are going to turn back to more of a mobile westerly, which means that frontal systems are going to start to come in off the Atlantic, which means it will turn wetter and windier, and so it will be a little bit milder. But it is worth stressing that tonight, you were talking at the beginning in your introduction that last night was the coldest night of the season so far. Well, we're going to easily break that tonight. It's going to be bitterly cold, quite widespread across the country. So lows of -12, -13 in Highlands, Scotland, where we've got lying snow, clear skies and that cold Arctic air.
Yeah, so at the moment we've still got quite a few bits of weather causing problems around the UK.
The change will come at the weekend. We'll really start to see it at the weekend. It comes at a price. Saturday for some is going to be miserable, really wet, windy. Ugh.
OK, that's great.
I know which I'd prefer.
That is the BBC weather for you from Louise Lear, and with her opinion as well, it was lovely. Thank you very much, Louise, for bringing us up to date, and things will get slightly milder sometime soon.